Well, I think the interesting thing about this market reaction to the Trump win is that actually the reaction has been more muted than we would have expected. It would have been quite normal, I think, if we come in and found that markets would be off 3, 4, 5%, particularly if we look at the risk around Brexit. But actually, markets are only down between 0.5% and 1%, and actually the stock moves are also nowhere near as big as they were at the time of Brexit. I think one thing about the Trump win is that it just reinforces this rise of the populist politician. The Brexit vote was unexpected for us, but I think we could rationalise that after the event. And many of the factors behind Brexit are also behind the rise in Donald Trump and also in Europe. So I think the thing that we'll see as European investors is some of these same effects in the European elections which we've got coming up. And those are, just to pick a few, the referendum in Italy about constitutional change, the vote for the Austrian president, and also next year the French presidential election and German federal elections. And so I think the idea that this is some sort of final step is actually wrong. I think this is a step on the way to more populism, more populist policies, even from more mainstream politicians, and of course more volatility and more change. If we look at the sector impact in European stocks, I think the short-term obvious trade is that pharma is benefiting from a not Hillary trade. So people assumed that Hillary Clinton's policies would be negative for drug pricing, and therefore there's a relief rally in pharma. There is a benefit to stocks exposed to infrastructure, and also where they can see a clear benefit from domestic policies. So Donald Trump looking for domestic growth, we expect more inflation in the US. And so that will also help some of the banks. It's not across the board though, and I think if we look at European names that have underperformed, it impacts companies that are involved in globalization and offshoring, and we see that as having a clear, those suffering a clear negative impact. But actually it's going to be much more nuanced and stock by stock, and so we'll have to look very carefully over the next weeks and months to see what policies are quietly dropped and which ones actually start to become part of government policy.